who come to this happy place, welcome.
News team, assemble!
Joining us live because if you want to know anything about the Outer Banks, Sam Walker's the dude to fill you in.
The sea was angry that day, my friends. Like an old man trying to send back soup in a deli.
Always appreciate talking to you.
Always good stuff with Sam Walker in the Outer Banks.
Now here's Les Nessman and the news.
And good morning, everyone. It is OBX Today for Thursday, October 14th, 2021. Glad you're along with us here on the OBX Today Facebook page, along with the Sam Walker OBX YouTube channel. Coming up, a lot to get to as we head into another busy weekend. Tomorrow, we're going to preview the Outer Banks Seafood Festival as it gets going this Saturday out at the event site, the Sound Side in Nags Head. Looking forward to that. We're going to have all our crew out from Jam Media Solutions all day long. Our own Sharon Peel Kennedy, who you can hear weekdays afternoons on 94.5 WCMS and on Big 94.5 WCMS and Beach 104 with the What's for Supper. She's going to be out there doing live presentations, among other things. That's all going to be tomorrow. We'll preview that tomorrow, but the Seafood Festival is coming up on Saturday. Still on, and looking forward to that. Just trying to get our chat window up so we can interact with everybody that's watching along this morning. And good morning to all you folks checking in with us. Mary, Stephen, and Jennifer, and Kent. Yeah, that's how it works. Charles, yeah. Foggy, actually, it's funny how foggy it is on the inland areas right now compared to the beach. The beach looks great. Checking all of our live shots this morning. This one, of course, from Hatteras. Here's how things look in Avon. A little bit darker, a little cloudier there. And kind of the same thing off Jeanette's, off South Nags Head. And then get up to Corolla. So nice day today on the beaches. Got a dense fog advisory until 9 o'clock. So if you are headed inland this morning, keep that in mind. Visibility's down to less than a quarter mile. It's been like that all morning long. Kind of a foggy start out there, to say the least, for the folks just across the bridge. And so keep that in mind if you are headed out that way over the next hour or so. It should burn off pretty quickly. Looks like a nice day weather-wise for us here along the Outer Banks and everywhere in northeastern North Carolina. The next couple of days, we do have a front coming through that's going to get us into a little more fall-like weather starting Sunday. So we'll talk all about that in a little bit. First off, let's get to some of the headlines this morning. We are continuing to follow up on this missing person case. A 27-year-old woman from West Virginia continues to be not been found after her and two friends went camping on Portsmouth Island last week and then tried to make their way back to Ocracoke on Saturday, really during the height of the worst weather we had from that blow over the last that happened last weekend. And she has not been seen since. The two men were rescued by the Coast Guard, or one was rescued by the Coast Guard. Gotten a little bit more clarification on what all went on there. Our friends down at News Channel 12 in New Bern had a chance to talk to one of those people who've been keeping hope alive over this. And here's what they had. Megan Scarano and Jordan Honeycutt working on this story. So let's we got that for you right now here on OBX Today.
And friends are looking for answers as the Coast Guard calls off the search for 27-year-old Savannah Grant. Savannah was one of three people who disappeared off Portsmouth Island in the Ocracoke Inlet. Two survivors were found, but family and friends say Savannah is still missing. News Channel 12's Megan Scarano talked to friends of Savannah's and joins us in the newsroom. Megan, what are they telling you?
A friend of Savannah tells me finding out that she was still missing when the search was called off was heartbreaking, and that she'll do anything she can to help bring her home.
She's a sweet, funny, loving person. She's always laughing. She's a very creative person. And right now she's a very scared and lonely person that needs our help.
Kristen Federer tells me she is holding on to hope. Her friend Savannah Grant is still alive. She says her friends Savannah, John, and Jason were canoeing near Portsmouth Island when the three went missing. The Coast Guard initiated a search, but only found John and Jason.
They're glad to be alive. They're lucky to be alive.
The Coast Guard says they searched for more than 73 hours and 1,600 square miles by air and by boat. They called off the search for Savannah, and now friends and family are taking it into their own hands.
I joined a couple local groups on Facebook so that I could put out the word.
Now, as loved ones search for Savannah, family and friends plead for help and say any little thing could bring her home.
If you have a drone, if you have the time, if you are able, please help. If you're out fishing, maybe you could go to that area specifically. Anything that anyone could do to bring her home.
The Coast Guard says the person to answer our questions about the search was not available for an interview today. In the newsroom, I'm Megan Scarano with News Channel 12.
Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller will be
again,
attending a
that
military
courtesy
court
of WCTI TV News Channel 12 down in Newbern. We've run into the same issue they've run into trying to get up with someone at the Coast Guard. Now, I have gotten a little bit more information from North Carolina Wildlife Resources as far as what went on and as part of their investigation. Now, this is being handled and we're still waiting on a statement from North Carolina Wildlife Resources, but we have gotten a little bit of clarification that makes more sense about what went on Saturday with this group that disappeared. First off, they actually had a kayak and a john boat rather than just a canoe. There is a lot of things were left out by the Coast Guard when it comes to this, and we've run it. I will just go ahead and flat out put it out there. We've run into this before where a lot of details are very important with some of these rescues that they do and some of the work they do. And it's not to disregard what the work's being done on the ground, but sometimes public affairs at Coast Guard is a little lacking in terms of getting details to us when it comes to stories like this. And we're able to, glean a lot of local knowledge. I mean, I'll just not flat out say it. It's not just what we do at obxtoday.com, but all of us here that cover the Outer Banks on a daily basis can give you things that other people are not going to give you. And that's that local knowledge. First off, this group was 3 of them. They had gone camping on Portsmouth Island. They had stayed until they had to head home. You can only camp for so long. You do have to get permits on Portsmouth Island, which is part of Cape Lookout National Seashore. They had actually parked at the Ocracoke boat ramp, which the National Park Service has, and then had taken the kayak and canoe and paddled over across Ocracoke Inlet over to Portsmouth Island. They were trying to get back on Saturday because they had essentially had run out of time staying there. And that's when they ran into trouble. So the other points that we found out was that both the survivors were found on the ocean side. One was found off Drum Inlet, almost 3 miles offshore by a Coast Guard helicopter from Elizabeth City, and he was pulled out of the water there. The other man was found almost 30 miles south of Ocracoke Inlet. And when we were told by the Coast Guard they were found by a Good Samaritan off Great Island or at Great Island. They were on the opposite side Great Island actually sits on the Sound side down towards the bottom end of the Pamlico Sound and along the core banks on the inland side of it. This guy was found by a couple of guys that were out drum fishing along the ocean side near Great Island. So again, there was a reference there to Great Island. But as far as the woman goes, Savannah, she is still missing. The Coast Guard calling it search off, and that's normal procedure. But North Carolina Marine Patrol and Wildlife Resources Commission officers continue to search. They're doing searches during their normal operations, if you will. This is very typical once we get to this point in a missing person on the water, that they're not going to be able to put the resources into an active search. It'll be more of a passive search. If they're out and about, they may see, a lot of times you'll see local authorities jump in and take that on. And then, of course, local boaters doing the same thing. So we'll see how this turns out over the next couple of days. But we are going to get a little bit more information published for you at obxtoday.com. But it really does, getting these vital bits of information does help. The other thing that I mentioned was that they were found on the ocean side. I did speak with someone. I talked to Sergeant Jonathan Beardsley with North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission about this yesterday, and he is the District 1 sergeant. This is not in his coverage district; it's in District 2. So we're waiting to hear back from them. But he did confirm that, yes, with the amount of waves we had on Saturday and with that 30-knot wind out of the northeast, it's easily can push someone trying to keep afloat on the ocean that far, that fast, 22, 25 to 30 miles from where they originally were. So that is not at all unusual for that to happen. So that's the latest that we have, again, on that case of missing Savannah Grant from West Virginia. And again, we are following this story. We'll have more details about it as they become available, and we'll make sure we pass them along to you here and at obxtoday.com. All right, tropical weather update. It's looking like this right now. Just one little lemon head out there off the Bahamas that's heading out to offshore. It's not going to be a problem for us and a problem for anybody. The latest on that just has a 10% chance of becoming a tropical cyclone in the next 48 hours. And I'm going to do the 5. Yeah, it's just still a 10% chance of it in the next 5 days. Broad area of low pressure located a few hundred miles northeast of the Turks and Caicos continues to produce a large area of disorganized cloudiness and thunderstorms, primarily east and northeast of its center. Strong upper-level winds are expected to prevent significant development of this system during the next day or so. The low is beginning to move eastward and should accelerate further to the east-northeast over the weekend. And on Friday, the disturbance is forecast to interact with a mid-latitude trough, and further tropical developments not anticipated after that. That's what's left of what was over us, a different little weather system that had brought us some onshore. This was a little bit farther south than the one that we dealt with over the last couple of days. It finally moved offshore yesterday morning, around midday, that is. So nothing else in the tropics right now. We still have 7 weeks left in the hurricane season. 48 days, in fact, are left in the current hurricane season. So, anything can happen. All it takes is one. That was a very good post yesterday from the National Weather Service office in Wilmington saying, 49 days. We haven't had anything here severe. We've had quite a few hurricanes, of course, already. And then things have kind of shut off, but all it takes is one. And, of course, we'll stay vigilant and keep you up to date on that. Today is the first day to early vote in North Carolina's municipal elections. Over 400 towns and cities in North Carolina having elections this fall for their city council and mayor, but there's a number that aren't, including all the major cities in North Carolina, and with several here in northeastern North Carolina. Elizabeth City, Edenton, Plymouth, and Ahoskie are not having their municipal elections this year. The rest of the towns are. The reason that is because those towns, again, as I mentioned, Elizabeth City, Edenton, Ahoskie, and Plymouth, they have districts, their voting districts, their wards as they're set up in Elizabeth City, are set up using population maps. Those maps were not available because of all the delays that happened with the census, both because of the pandemic and because of the slow rollout by the Trump administration. There is going to be municipal elections next spring at the same time that we're having our midterm elections in North Carolina. But Dare County's towns will have their elections on the normal schedule, and early voting starts today. 2 sites to go to if you want to early vote. You can go to the Dare County Administration Building, to the Board of Elections office on Marshall C. Collins Drive in Manio, or the Kill Devil Hills Town Hall Commissioners Meeting Room will be available. They are open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. On Monday through Friday, and then Saturday, just one day of Saturday voting. That is on the last day, October 30th, from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Early voting allows any registered voter to cast an absentee ballot in person, but if you're not registered, you can also register and vote in what's called one stop. You can still early register and vote on the same day. And to get more details, we'll get all the details for you up at obxtoday.com. But the Dare County Elections Board does have a good website to get all the details about who's running, as well as any other questions you might have on early voting. I thought this was pretty cool. Travis Fain at WRAL picking up this story yesterday. It's a contest. Now, right now, North Carolina is in the redistricting process. Everybody's in the redistricting process because every 10 years you have to redraw your election districts based on the latest census. North Carolina is in that process. We're seeing a lot of different looking districts, to say the least, that cover northeastern North Carolina. We're seeing maps being drawn for legislative districts that would split a number of counties locally into different legislative districts. Not sure that's going to fly, but it may. In fact, one map I saw had the border for, I think it was the House districts, the Kidoval Hills, Nags Head town line. That's just some proposals. It's not even going to come close to being voted on and decided on yet. There's a long process still underway on redrawing the districts. The congressional district maps, I've seen one that seems to be a lot of places. A lot of those who are in this process of drawing the districts seem to be putting northeastern North Carolina, all of us here in the Northeast, into a congressional district that stretches all the way out to north of Winston-Salem. Yeah, it's that big. Not including when we're talking about all the rural counties up along the Virginia border. I've seen one of those. Well, if you want to take your shot at trying to draw congressional districts, you can, and you might win $500. The group called Citizen Redistricting North Carolina started a contest last night. It runs through next Saturday afternoon. You go to a website, Dave's Redistricting, davesredistricting.org, and you can go on there. It's a very well-known website in terms of redistricting coverage. And you go in there and draw your own congressional district, and it may make you eligible for $500 from this group. There was a Zoom roundtable last night with a trio of North Carolina State University professors, as well as some reform advocates, including Representative Pricey Harris from Greensboro and former Representative Chuck McGrady from Henderson County, from Hendersonville. He also involved with this. They talked about trying to get people aware about what the redistricting process goes through. There was a public hearing held last month over at Elizabeth City State on this. Now it's in where the lawmakers are drawing the maps in a process that is streamed online during regular business hours. Legislators are drawing the maps themselves as opposed to an independent commission, a reform many advocates have called for years. Virginia just passed that, although it looks like that has not gone well. Just kind of peeking at what goes on with what's been going on with that up in Virginia. But North Carolina has still uses the process as the legislature drawing it, which is a partisan process. Representative McGrady was one of the few Republicans in the legislative majority who pushed independent redistricting reform in recent years, but never could get a bill across the finish line. So, again, go to daysredistricting.org, or 3 days, but Citizen Redistricting North Carolina has set up this contest. You win $500 if you want to get in and try to draw your own congressional maps. All right, it is OBX Today on this Thursday morning on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll be back right after this.
Get ready for the Dare to Scare 5K and Sweet Treat Fun Run on Saturday, October 23rd. Sponsored by the Dare County Center. The 3.1-mile course begins at the Coastal Studies Institute, winding through Psycho and along the trails ending at the Dare County Center. This is a rain or shine event, with all proceeds benefiting the Dare County Center annual toy drive. So get ready for the Dare to Scare 5K and Sweet Treat Fun Run on Saturday, October 23rd. For more information, to register, or to volunteer, go to www.darenc.com/DC Center.
Welcome back to OBX Today. As we roll on this Thursday morning, Town of Manteo has scheduled a public hearing for this month to consider proposed policy changes on the filling of wetlands. The hearing is going to be Wednesday at 5 p.m. in Town Hall during the Town Commissioner's workshop on proposed changes to the 2007 Coastal Area Management Act Land Use Plan for the Town of Manteo. Now, back in May, Commissioners directed Manteo staff to draft the land use plan amendments to address a complaint about policies regarding development of and the placement of fill in upland wetlands. The proposed changes include adding language regarding new development and fill of upland wetlands. The new language would define upland wetlands as those that are not coastal, as defined by CAMA and state law, and that are still federally protected from dredging and filling without a permit from the Army Corps of Engineers under the Clean Water Act and certification for the North Carolina Division of Water Quality. The Planning and Zoning Board in July considered draft resolutions prepared by the town attorney and suggested changes to the resolution and recommended approval with those changes included. Land use plan amendments follow a process that includes submittal to the Department of Environmental Quality, Division of Coastal Management, for certification. This is something that's been going on for quite some time in all the towns here on the Outer Banks. All the towns that are covered under the Coastal Area Management Act and the counties as well must come up with these land use plans. So this is Manteo's process. I know Duck is in the process of wrapping theirs up, but all the towns and the counties have to have these land use plans in place with CAMA, and this one addressing specifically upland wetlands. These are not the ones that are that you see the marsh, like along Shallowbag Bay. These are your in the town where you probably don't see them. You drive by them, don't even realize they're there. Truist Bank, which of course is a consolidation of BB&T and SunTrust, has announced more branch closings and consolidations in North Carolina. The only one that's going to be here impacting us here in northeastern North Carolina is the branch in Plymouth. We had known for some time that BB&T, what was a BB&T in Plymouth, was going to be closing, and they are it's wrapping up. But none of the 35 branch closings that were listed, according to the Winston-Salem Journal, are local except for the Plymouth branch of BB&T. Governor Cooper yesterday signing House Bill 951, which is a large, massive energy reform bill here in North Carolina. It's meant to roll back greenhouse gas emissions from the state's largest primary electricity provider, Duke Energy. Also overhauls a process for setting customer rates for Duke Energy. It does not change how things are going to work for Dominion customers, those of us out here in Northeast who are supplied by Dominion. But Duke Energy is who provides the power to the municipal-owned, the town-owned power companies, such as in Elizabeth City and Edenton. Cost concerns remain, though, from advocates for the poor and environmental groups worry the bill has too much wiggle room, leaving uncertain of its ultimate impact on climate change. The bill signing yesterday drew top Republican and Democratic leaders to the governor's mansion, signaling the bipartisanship that has become more common this year. The bill tells the North Carolina Utilities Commission, which regulates electricity producers in the state, to take all reasonable steps to cut carbon dioxide emissions from Duke Energy's power plants by 70% when compared with 2005 levels by 2030. And the bill's goal is to get to or as close to zero by 2050 with offsets that allow for some emissions. The Utility Commission will work with Duke, by far the state's largest electricity provider, to come up with a plan that must chart the least cost path to be targeted reductions. The cheapest. They come up with all these words. 15 states have similar requirements. Virginia is the only one in the Southeast. The Natural Resources Defense Council said North Carolina is the first Republican-controlled legislature to codify such rigorous climate targets. Now, the bill does not require certain energy sources, so much solar energy, so much natural gas, so much nuclear, to replace the power lost when Duke closes coal plants early. That was in previous versions of the bill, but now it's up to the Utilities Commission to work with Duke on the mix. Now, one of the major changes going to affect folks directly are Duke Power customers. Their rate increases could last up to 3 years at a time. That's something the company's wanted for years, to scale back a lengthy, complicated, and costly hearing process every time the company wants to raise rates. The measure also allows Duke to charge customers for the cost of closing coal plants early, saying it has to securitize only half of the remaining net book value. So basically, they're passing on the savings, or the cost, to their customers, rather than taking it out of their profits at Duke Energy. But again, this 3-year rate setting is not going to apply to Dominion. Duke is the largest provider of power in North Carolina, has the most customers. Dominion is second. But because Dominion did not reach the threshold for the number that was set in the bill, that's kind of intentional. They left Dominion out of this rate-making proposal, so they'll still be on the annual process when they want to raise rates in North Carolina, according to that bill. Yesterday, the Biden administration announced it'll help develop up to seven offshore wind farms on the east and west coast of the Gulf of Mexico as it moves to deploy 30 gigawatts of offshore energy by 2030, which would be enough to power more than 10 million homes. Interior Secretary Deb Haaland said at a wind power conference in Boston yesterday, her department hopes to hold lease sales by 2025 for projects off the coast of Maine, New York, the Mid-Atlantic, as well as the Carolinas, California, Oregon, and the Gulf of Mexico. Of course, they've already, the federal government's already approved the lease for offshore of the Outer Banks, between essentially southern shores and Kuala, an area that would be over the horizon. In fact, from what the proposals show, is those turbines would not be visible at all from the shore, other than maybe flashing lights at the top of the turbines. There has been some opposition over those because of potential fishing problems in areas that are popular with fishing fleet, especially the Marlin fleet. Say during the Pirates Cove tournament, loves to run up to that side of the beach. And in that area to fish during the Pirates Cove tournament, because where the most of the billfish like to run that time of year. There are concerns about what this wind farm can be. Others say, hey, it's not going to affect anything. It's going to make things fishing great out there. We'll see. But Dominion in the process, Avangrid Renewables is who's got that lease for that area out there. Some business news this morning. More than 10,000 John Deere workers went on strike this morning after the company failed to present an agreement that met United Auto Workers' demands. The vast majority of the union rejected a contract offer earlier this week that would have delivered 5% raises to some workers and 6% to others. A lot of this has come to the negotiations. It's not just so much the raises, but having to do with the pensions, making changes to pensions and going to 401ks. So that's one of the things that has been a conflict in with this. Yeah, we got our phone did not get muted before we got on the air, so that was kind of messing us up. All right, yesterday, Congressman Greg Murphy held a summit in Greenville, called Water Adaptation to Ensure Regional Success. Congressman Greg Murphy, along with Congressman G.K. Butterfield and David Rouser, helped facilitate the event, bringing political leaders from all over the state to Greenville yesterday for this. And our friends over at WNCT in Greenville have a little bit more about this summit. They were there to talk with some of those that were taking part.
David Rouser Ensure Regional Success Summit today in Greenville.
Congressman G.K. Butterfield and Congressman David Rouser helped facilitate that event. The summit bringing political leaders from all areas of the state right here to the east.
9 on your sides, Caroline Boyer joins us here in studio. And Caroline, what's the goal?
Ken, Angie, environmental experts want to teach lawmakers how to combat some of these waterway issues in our state. Eastern North Carolina is no stranger to flooding and storms. State leaders hope to develop plans to confront these challenges over the next 5, 25, and 100 years.
It's time to bring smart people together with their legislators to actually understand the problem, figure out what we're going to do about it, and actually put those plans into action.
Political leaders from across the state gathered at the Hilton in Greenville Wednesday to hear from environmental experts about research being conducted to combat waterway issues.
I really want to highlight that the decisions that we make in the short run influence what the coast will look like in the future. So this is an interaction between human decisions and natural processes.
The Water Summit brought together local, state, and federal lawmakers on both sides of the aisle.
We have got to leave the political party labels at the door and bring people together around these science, fact-based things that are out there that is so clear as day that will, help us hopefully, come up with some solutions.
Speakers broke up the summit into sections. Where are we now? Where should we be? And how do we get there? Two big topics of conversation were flooding and rising sea levels.
I've been here for 27 years in East North Carolina. I lived through Hurricane Floyd and all the other things. And we saw so many people's businesses and their lives literally taken and their lives devastated.
It's a change environmental experts say is happening as we speak.
This is not some dystopian, distant future that we're talking about, right? Some of these changes are happening now, and they'll continue to happen and accelerate going forward in the not too distant future.
Congressman Murphy says he plans to make this an annual event. Murphy says it's important to have these tough conversations so we can protect and adapt to our environment. In studio, Caroline Boyer, 9 on your side.
Caroline, thank you.
All right, and again, that's from our friends over at WNCT in Greenville. Just got a new studio this week. It's nice. All right, we're going to take a break and come back here on OBX Today Live here on Facebook and YouTube, so don't go anywhere.
We are at Dare County Arts Council in Manio, North Carolina, and behind me is our new courtyard. So on October 2nd, 2021, we had our soft opening of the courtyard, and the idea was to showcase a tasting of what's possible out here. We've had kids music, we've had theater performances, live music, we've had authors sharing from their books, and speakers talking about their art today. It's felt like the community has come in and been gathering. We've had people flowing in and out all day, and there's been something for everybody. The future of the courtyard is hopefully to expand what we already offer. So we do lots of visual arts, lots of exhibits inside the building, but we're hoping to really focus on expanding what the Arts Council provides with more performance, more literary arts, more messy art, more big art. And we're hoping that people will come to us with ideas of things they want to see and bring as well. This building is a county building. It was an old courthouse that the Arts Council took over, but we work with the county all the time. Same with the town of Manio. It's a big collaborative thing, and we want everyone in the community, Manio, Dare County, to feel like it's a space that belongs to all of us to celebrate the arts and culture, and we certainly feel like Manio is a hub for that on the Outer Banks. Manio is the most amazing town. First of all, just the fact that this is a walking downtown community makes this space just amazing. And we want to encourage more and more people to come, enjoy, and experience the arts. This is the perfect space for it. We just want to put word out that if other people have ideas for what we could do in this space, we'd love to collaborate with other organizations, other groups, and other artists to bring art to this spot.
And welcome back on OBX Today, live here on this Thursday morning. It is Oyster Week in North Carolina. And why not? Tomorrow is the first day that hand harvesting of oysters can take place on public bottoms. That's not applying to those who do oyster farming with permitted oyster farms. They can farm anytime. But, of course, we are in a month with R in it, so that means you need oysters. Not you can't eat them all year, but anyway. But the North Carolina Coastal Federation, North Carolina Sea Grant, and the North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources celebrating with in-person and virtual events across the state. And tomorrow, again, we'll have a story up on the H2O page. Actually got one up right now on all about some of the stuff that's going on, how you can find out more about how to celebrate oystering in North Carolina. And October is a key month. Of course, the wild caught season begins tomorrow and continues through April. We'll have details about that up on the H2O page at obxtoday.com. Of course, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Jam Media Solutions, obxtoday.com. We have been marking it all month long with stories each day. Nags Head Fire and Rescue annual breast cancer awareness t-shirts have arrived and are on sale now. They've got two options this year, a pink shirt and a limited number of green shirts, and it all benefits the Outer Banks Relief Foundation's Breast Cancer Fund. The small to extra large sizes are $20, double X and triple X for those of us with the dad bods, $25. And the shirts can be purchased at Station 16. That's the Douglas A. Ramalley Station 16 across from Town Hall, or you can mail them a check and make it out to the Outer Banks Relief Foundation. We got the details for you on obxtoday.com and our Breast Cancer Awareness Month tab. This Saturday in Ocracoke, Karen Clark with the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission, Outer Banks Center, and Amy Thompson, who is Ocracoke Supervisory Biological Technician for Cape Hatteras National Seashore, and Frank Wells, Volunteer Coordinator for Sea Turtle Strandings on Hatteras and Ocracoke, will conduct a volunteer sea turtle stranding training. This is focusing on cold-stunned and stranded sea turtles. It's going on Sunday at 1 o'clock at the Ocracoke Community Center. Session will last about 2 hours. Our friends over, Peter Vankevich over at OcracokeObserver.com, they got the details about that on how you can help. So if you're on Ocracoke this weekend, on this Sunday, you can go down and learn about how to help sea turtles if you find any are stranded. All right, the North Carolina State Fair finally returns after a 1-year hiatus. Of course, last year canceled because of the coronavirus pandemic. First time that happened since World War II. The State Fair opening its gates at noon today. All other days, they open at 8 a.m. Exhibit halls open at 9, and the rides start at 10. But everything opens at noon today. Runs through Sunday the 24th in the State Fairgrounds in West Raleigh. A few changes this year. They have moved the North Carolina Public House and also moved several other things into let's see. Yes, Merman Dance Celebrate. The North Carolina State Fair, they've moved some things around into Dorton Arena rather than having some of the smaller venues to make things a little safer. They're not requiring masks. They're not requiring vaccines to get into the State Fair. They said part of the reason they're not enforcing the mask requirement is because enforcement would just be impossible with people eating so much. All you're doing is eating and drinking when you're at the State Fair. So why they're not going to enforce that. But they have moved a few things around. The entertainment for a lot of that is going to be outside. So rather than having concerts inside Dorton Arena, they're going to have stages set up outside around the State Fairgrounds, 2 main stages. They also are, like I said, they moved the Public House into Dorton Arena along with some other vendors. Tickets are $13 for adults, $7 for ages 6 to 12. Military members can get in for $8. Tomorrow, students with a valid school ID or report card from the previous school year can get in for $8. Free admission for seniors. That's coming up on Tuesday. Thursday the 21st is the Smithfield Foods Hunger Relief Day. Admissions free for those who bring 6 cans of food for a donation. Tickets for the rides, these can be purchased separately. If you don't want to deal with trying to park around the fairgrounds, there are free parking at the Reedy Creek Dogwood parking lot. That's on Reedy Creek Road. There are also free parking and shuttle service from Carter Finley Stadium. Now, if you go today, it's kind of chaotic because not only have you got the state fair going on, but also there is... It is opening night for the Carolina Hurricanes, so keep that in mind. The Hurricanes starting their season tonight as they host the New York Islanders at PNC Arena right next door to the state fairgrounds. And so that's going to create a little bit of chaos there with the traffic, I'm sure. At least it's on opening night, which isn't normally busy, but with the weather the way it's going to be for the next couple of days, and looks like really for the next week, the state fair is going to be slammed. So if you are headed out there today, or thinking about going today, might not be a great day to go tonight. Hurricanes sold out game for tonight, so that's going to throw a lot more people out into that part of Raleigh. They are requiring mobile tickets to get into the Hurricanes games this year. They're also requiring masks inside. They're not requiring vaccinations to get into the arena, but they are requiring a pre-health screening survey online prior to entry at canescheckin.com. They also are continuing the clear bag policy at PNC Arena. The Hurricanes taking on the Islanders tonight at 7 o'clock to open the NHL season. Baseball tonight, Game 5 in the division series between San Francisco and the LA Dodgers. NFL tonight, Tampa Bay's at Philadelphia on Fox. High school soccer today, Columbia at Ocracoke. Equipment's at Riverside. Volleyball, Prairie Tuck's at Northeastern. Mattamuskeet at Cape Hatteras. Pasquotank is at First Flight. Manio at Hertford County. Ocracoke at Beargrass Charter. Riverside at McQuimmons. And Edenton is at Camden. OBX Today Weather Center forecast. Still a little bit of fog for inland areas. Watch out for that. Dense fog advisory in effect for those parts of northeast North Carolina until 9, as well as up into southeast Virginia. But it's burning off pretty quick, and it's burned off pretty well here outside my abode in Currituck County. We'll see sunny skies today with a high 74, north winds around 10. Partly cloudy tonight and a low 63 with northwest winds around 5 miles an hour. Friday's going to be sunny, a high 77 with north winds around 5. Clear Friday night, 64. Saturday, sunny. Fronts coming in, maybe some showers. A little breezy out of the south, and a high of 81. Showers and storms ending Saturday night. Breezy and a low down to 58. Inland areas make you down in the 40s. Sunday, sunny, a high of just 69. Nice. It's going to be breezy. Sunny and 70 Monday. Tuesday, sunny and 73. Wednesday, sunny and 76. Actual taste of fall on its way here in northeastern North Carolina, starting the second half of the weekend. And you know what? Honestly, can't wait. It looks beautiful. It looks like for that second half of the week. But hey, you know what? We can take it. Just one little mention of showers in the forecast. Coastal marine forecast. We have a moderate risk of rip currents for the North Beaches and for Ocracoke to Buxton. So watch out there. It's a low risk down south. 1 foot waves or less in the sound. Seas 3 to 4 feet with north winds around 5 to 10 knots. Water temperatures mid 70s, low 70s now. Again, 72 pretty much all of our recording locations. Next tide change in Oregon Inlet's a low tide at 9:37 this morning. Sunset tonight at 6:27. Sunrise tomorrow at 7:09. Currently outside the studios in Uptown Nags Head, it's 68 degrees and partly sunny. And that is going to wrap it up for OBX Today Live for this Thursday morning. Glad you've been along with us here on Facebook Live, the OBX Today Facebook channel, OBX Today Facebook page, and also on the Sam Walker OBX YouTube channel. Have yourself a great Thursday, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.